Recording. All right, so let's start off with pretty much last week's analysis, kind of where we were last week. So obviously last week the trade we were expecting for GBP USD, very simple, very self-explanatory. We were waiting for the break above this structure level right here. We're waiting for the break retest to go to the upside. If you guys notice, we never got that. We never got the clean break above, never got the retest of the area of interest. We did get a little break above here, but pretty much the pullback broke under it, so makes it invalid again. Voiding us this trade, simple, right? You guys have any questions with this one? There's pretty much nothing else to it. If we didn't get the break above, we didn't get the retest of EMA, retest of area of interest, retest around psychological, we don't take the trade. Very simple. I avoided that loss. Yeah, like this right here is a perfect way of how the trade could look perfect on the daily rejection from the area of interest and then ready to take it, but then it just doesn't play out. Took the shorts down, even better. Like that showed you guys that we're not stuck on one side. We're just taking the trade, whichever makes sense. The perfect trade to take down would have been this one here. The break, retest, bearish engulfing. You have 4-hour rejection candle. You can literally move this zone right here to here. Resistance, support, use as resistance. Pretty simple, right? I don't really mess around with it. But showed you guys the power of setting your trading plan and waiting for it to play out, right? Euro GBP, we're waiting for pullback of this level. Never got it. Kind of sucks. But you know, some trades could have popped up here on the continuation. The importance of placing the proper areas of interest. If you notice, if we would have bought here, this would have been our first original take profit that we we're going to look to get out at. If you notice, this would have been our take profit based off of the daily structure. What a coincidence. Daily broke above, little wick pullback, trade to the upside. Like these are the trades that I want to get. You get me? I don't want to get, I don't know, like any other trade. I want to get these simple trades that make sense. Obviously, I didn't get into this one. I was waiting for this one. This one didn't play out. Simply didn't take it. You know, you just move on. GJ, same thing. We were waiting on GJ. If you notice here, we did manage to get the break above. And then, where was it right here? Trade looked good. Then this happened. You know, like this is just gonna happen. I don't know. I think it was here, or I don't remember, but somebody asked me, oh, why can't we place visual stops? Well, I hope this is a perfect explanation why you can't place a visual stops. You always want to place the numbers of the stop loss. You never want to place the numbers of the take profit, because you never want to cut your profits short. You want to cut your losses short. That's the whole point of the set and forget. You know, you set and forget, you could keep this riding pretty much as long as you feel comfortable. But yeah, for this trade, was there, and then pretty much just decided to go the other way. It's the probability of the trade setup, and you know, now the most ideal setup is for sells, but we'll get into that shortly after, you know, we finish the review of these other ones. AU, I mean, pretty self-explanatory, just choppy throughout the whole entire week. And then AUDJPY gave us the exact pullback, how we wanted, to our area of interest. And then we sold off very quickly. I was looking to enter the trade. I was waiting for this structure to break right here. This one right here. Once this structure would have broken, I would have then entered my sells right here with stops above, but obviously it happened way too fast. I don't even think, yeah, you see, not even on the 15-minute, it gave me a break of the structure. It was just this one huge candlestick. Again, this is very hard to predict, and I'm gonna stick to my trading plan. I'm not gonna enter the trade before it gives me that. So we were right about the trade, right about everything. Just entry was very difficult due to the spike of the news. And then back to the original point, like when you're selling at a weekly area of interest, that's why I kind of like leaving these risk to reward tools on. This is the importance of understanding where the majority of the markets are. If the majority of the markets are bearish, you have weekly, daily, everything bearish, and you manage to sell at a weekly area of interest that happens to line up as also a daily area of interest. Like, there's no reason you should cut your profits short here. Like, you could have literally just held this for one more day and you could have quadrupled, 5x more your results, right? Because you're selling with the majority of the time frames. You're going with the trend. I've been calling this. You guys can go to the recordings of when the market was here. Like, I've literally been saying this is gonna go here. I don't know how else to like show this. Everything is there. I'm gonna call this now once more, like once again. This right here is going to now have a pullback to this level right here. It's gonna have a pullback to around this level. It's going to come back, retest the weekly EMA, retest weekly structure, and then we are going to body close or reach around these lows right here, which is going to be this structure level right here, right now, right? And this one, you guys remember this one as well, right? I said it last week. I'm like, you guys can literally sell right now. It was literally at the perfect spot. You could have literally sold as soon as I said pretty much click sell. The only reason why I didn't sell was it was because Sunday and the spreads are terrible and all that stuff. But basically from the moment I said sell, it sold off all week. Everything I said pretty much played out perfectly. What do I think is going to happen now this week? I think it's now going to have a little pullback to here, retest 85,600. After 85,600, it's going to retest support. It's going to have this little pullback into here like this. And then it's going to do something like this. It could probably just do this week. And then next week, it could be a candlestick here to the upside. But the week after that, it is going to do something like this. Maybe not in just one candlestick, but it can probably do it in 2 candlesticks, something like that. Does that make sense? Type 1 if so far we're good. Type 2 if no. Perfect. A lot of ones. And then gold, I think gold just did its thing. Didn't really look anything crazy. For this week, let's just see. Again, we gotta be realistic where we are. I know I always preach I trade whenever, and it's true. I really do trade whenever. But you know, we are at the end of the year. The banks were literally completely closed today, so there's probably that the markets won't move much. Have to take that into consideration, but don't completely have it cap your trading. GBP USD, not really interested. I'm doing a full real analysis right now with you guys, like actual speed on how I do it. Your GBP. Yeah, your GBP does look nice. I just need a daily pullback into this level right here to go long. We're not coming here anymore. We're not coming here anymore. So I kind of just need to pull back into that level. I need the weekly to kind of give me a wick like this. If a weekly gives me a wick like this into this level, then we already know what it looks like on the daily. On the daily, it'll probably look like something like this. On the daily, once that happens, then we need a little doji candlestick right here, a little cross, to then hope to have something like this. Exactly how we did here, exactly how we did here, here, pretty much every time. So it's kind of what I'm waiting for. Your GBP. GBP JPY. I mean, this should be pretty self-explanatory. We're obviously still bullish on the weekly, but we have the majority of the time frames bearish. So, you know, the most ideal trade setup here based off of a day trade would be to just wait for a retracement. If we know this is the lower high right here, and if we know that this is the lower low, we use this as our area. First area of interest we could mark off would maybe be somewhere in here. But for like such a big move like this, I expect an even bigger retracement to then have the bigger move to the downside. So for me, GBP JPY, I'm only looking to sell once it comes back into this area. So then sell to the downside. It'll be around psychological, daily structure, daily EMA, weekly structure, and then by that time the 4 hour goes bullish. So you could take a little counter trend trade, which is not the most ideal setup, but you can probably take a little buy like this to maybe this area. But you guys already know like the odds of this trade happening, you know, they're not as good in your favor compared to, let's say, this trade. So that's just a risk you have to determine if you're willing to take. Next, we have AUD USD. AUD USD. Really not that interested. AUD JPY. So annoying. I've been calling this. I didn't manage to get a lot of it, but same thing. I'm just waiting for the pullback of this level to take the trade to the downside. This trade, so easy. It's gonna get even easier. It's probably top one counter trend trade. So we understand now once this trade comes into this level, we're not going to be bullish on the 4 hour, but we understand that it has to go bullish in order for it to have the daily retracement. We all agree with that? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Perfect. Perfect. So we got to have little pullback into this level. Perfect. Retest to go short. So we have a little retest to go to the downside. So I like this one as well. Gold, I'm good. NZD, USD, I'm good. USD CAD. Good. USD JPY. I'm calling this as well. We're overbought. Just, we're pretty high to the upside. We just simply need a retracement. So now here we are fully bearish on the weekly. Do we all agree that we're bearish on the weekly? Type 1 if yes, type 2 if no. Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. 1 if yes, 2 if no. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right. So we're obviously bearish on the weekly. We had here higher high, higher low, higher high. We've body closed under, making now the weekly time frame bearish. If I were to mark this off as a level of structure right here, we probably won't have the retracement there. So this can be area of interest 1. This can be area of interest 2. And then this right here can be area of interest 3. So I'm pretty much waiting for a pullback to here to wait for a sell. If not, I'm going to wait for a pullback to here to get the sell. If not, I'm going to wait for the pullback for here to get the sell. Pretty simple, easy. We already know what we wait for here. And here we just simply wait for the shift of structure. Shift of structure, shift of structure. So we'll have these 3 spots to go to the downside. I like this one as well. Yeah. USD CAD, I didn't like it. Euro JPY. All these JPYs look the same, so I'm just gonna stick with the one that makes the most sense. This is coming from the trenches. It's finally, coming to the upside. I'm good. NZD JPY, I'm good as well. This looks pretty good. We could be retesting this weekly structure, wicked into the weekly EMA. Daily time frame is bearish, so that is kind of a turnoff. But the 4 hour is probably about to go bullish. So the 4 hour is technically bullish. We mark it off here. Yeah, we're technically bullish. This actually looks pretty good because we left head, right shoulder. Since we can't get in at the right shoulder, I actually like this one. We could get in at the break and retest of the neckline. Looks okay, doesn't look that crazy. And then GBP CHF, I'm good, and CAD JPY, I am good. So for this week, we have pretty interesting board. If I were to organize them from top to bottom, I'd probably put this one as 1, I'd put this one as 2. Let me just delete all of this. I'll leave that definitely. All right, so definitely number 1, I would have NZD CAD. Yes, it is a counter trend trade without a doubt, but I feel like it is the closest one to having the sell to the downside. I feel like we can have a little quick retracement to then have the push down. USD JPY, kind of same thing. We can either come into here, reject from here, not come into here, reject from here, not come in here and reject from here. Then we have Euro GBP, which we're waiting for a little pullback into this level to go long, which I like it. Kind of the only thing that, you know, makes it a little annoying is that we can have a bigger retracement on the weekly, like the weekly, you know, you got to be realistic. Do you think that this little wick is going to be enough to give it a big push to the upside? Probably, but probably not. You know, you got to just be realistic with yourself. You got to understand like what are the probabilities of that happening. This might just need a red candlestick like that. And then after the red candlestick, then we can have a big, nice one like this. Pretty much how we do all the time. If you notice here, we have a high, we have a higher low, and then we have the push. So it's kind of the same thing. We just gotta see what makes the most sense when it gets to that point. GJ, we just need the big retracement to sell to the downside. But we could take a little counter trend trade that I repeat, I do not recommend taking. But if you know you're up for that risk, the opportunity can be there. Just make sure you manage your risk appropriately. And then on AUD JPY, the sell here was pretty much perfect last week, but moved too fast. So if you want a continuation sell with the weekly and the daily time frame, just pretty much wait for the pullback into this level, and then you should be able to catch a nice sell. AUD, CAD, wouldn't really pay too much attention to it. So we could even take that one out.